Oh, you really want the camera go?
Why does no one play? Ah, there it is. Oh no. I think you're on that side of
So it's good, right? Oh yeah, because it was pens. Yeah.
He's not going to cut that. I'm so it doesn't matter.
He won't know.
Really excited.
Talk it out. This one's the biggest one.
First one is literally right before instead of
That's good. I know that one. I went to eat Starbucks and I realized that I thought we were supposed to go something. I did. I'll never You were a four after.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, Have you had any? Yeah, me too. So are you going to yes. I don't try
I call this meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. If there are no objections, we will approve the minutes as presented from last week. Are there any students here on behalf of Open Forum? Okay, we will move into presenters. So I feel like there's really no introduction that I could do, but our presenter is President Davis. So if there are no objections, I will suspend the rules for 10 minutes to allow him to present.
Definitely not necessary. Let me see if I can lay my things down.
Okay.
I appreciate having a few minutes on your agenda, and I know it's packed. But two things. First of all, I'm amazed you guys are here. As it starts slowing down, it gets quieter and quieter on campus. So kudos to all of you for holding to your schedule and finishing pre-Turkey Day really strong. So this is great. But I do wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. And then the second thing, does anybody know of any team at UCA that's won a trophy today? I mean, we seem to be getting one about every day. It's really amazing the run we've been on, and between football and women's volleyball and men's soccer. What a run by fall sports. It's a good time to be a Bear, that's for sure. What I was asked to do today was to come and give kind of a general update on the IT peer review. You guys were involved in the information technology peer review team that was here, if I remember correctly. You also participated in some advanced sort of questionnaire work, a little bit, almost a little bit of a survey about your general feelings about information technology on the campus, and then all fed into having three people, the CIOs from Siena College, University of Alabama Birmingham, and University of Arkansas Little Rock, coming in and spending time on our campus, not only with yourselves, but with about 250 people total, to get a better understanding about where we are, where do we need to be relative to best practices, and then how close are we to a term that was used by all three of those peer reviewers, and that is delivering information technology core services flawlessly. And I like thinking about it that way because there's some basic things that when you flip the switch or when you look to integrate with, that you should not be thinking about the basic service and basic level of quality not living up to snuff. So core services flawlessly is something that I'm going to refer to 2 or 3 times in my, I got to watch it really quick, 10 minutes. No. I told you I was going to stick to it, and I'm down to like 6.5 at this point. Let me tell you, I'm giving you a really high-level overview that's very similar to what I gave to Faculty Senate last week. I had the opportunity 2 weeks ago to meet with the IST division, all 38 of those employees. It's pretty significant, it's somewhat rare that you would undergo a review like this. It's a very public review. It kind of gets into your business pretty quickly. It's akin to an academic department that was maybe having challenges in a degree program going through, an accreditation review because of challenges. One of the things that came out of the review is that the problems that are evident are very much deep-seated. They're not things that have 4- and 5-year lifespans. They are 2 decades plus. A lot can be said about the fact that the network capabilities that we have are 3 and 4 generations behind where they really should be. I mean, if we were trying to truly be positioned for the future. They certainly brought up the fact that there are some good things happening despite those challenges. They refer to them in the report as little miracles. Well, probably to those folks that do them, they are big miracles. But overall, you need to know that our investment in information technology services broadly defined at UCA have lagged behind peer institutions. 2 data points, and you can write these down just for kind of point of reference. When you look at everything that EduCause, that's the kind of the national organization for higher ed information technology, all those things that EduCause would put into information services technology budgets, and so that's your network, that's your people, that's all the peripheral that surrounds that. The average for our type of institution is that 3.1% of the overall institutional budget would go toward information services technology. At UCA, we spend 1.3. Okay, so compare those two numbers. When you get that down to a dollar figure that takes into account all of our FTE, and that's all of you, all of our staff, all of our faculty, the average for our type of institutions is $995 an FTE. We spend $479 in FTE. Okay, so one way for you to think about it is there's not going to be too many ways that we're going to cut it, that we're probably investing about half of what we should in all of that. Now, some of that is people, some of that is not being on current generation where we need to be in terms of the overall backbone and everything that comes off of that. They were quick to note, though, that it's not just about money. I mean, you can do little miracles with available dollars, but we can't ignore the fact that there's some level where we have to accept the fact that we're getting what we're paying for. Okay, so there's one thing. They also observed, and some of this may have come out in the session, you're kind of lumped in, the student comments, the faculty comments, the staff, the different constituent groups that are in the technology advisory space, all contributed to that we've been in a management of crisis to crisis sort of mode for a long, long time. They were able to document a decade plus of that being a challenge. There were problems with regard to communication that were coming out of the overall IT division, and those really took 2 forms. One was a lack of explanation when there was trouble about what was really going on. That's probably not as important to you guys, but that's critically important to faculty that are at the tip of the spear in terms of delivery of classes and all the support infrastructure that surrounds the classes. But the second area of communication was a lack of messaging on changes that are made, and they're not thinking about, and this is a term that those of you that are in the tech space probably are aware of, not thinking about attention to second order effects of those changes. So I'm going to push this lever here, but I'm not thinking about other areas of the university that might impact. Although that might be a change that needs to be made, have we really thought about those second order effects on the line? So the lack of resources is exacerbated by the fact that the crisis to crisis and the communication problems is sort of the backdrop against which we're considering opportunities for change. All of that in the report really got to a lack of trust that seemed to have eroded with the overall operation. And so quite frankly, the status quo, and I knew that when I went into it, the status quo was not going to be an option. We had to think about making some pretty significant changes going forward. That sort of gets, guys, at why I use the peer review process. It's something that when I was in Tennessee was used to great effect by the presidents there. When you had a challenge with something, and this is a great example, I don't know much at all about information technology as an expert. I'm a great user and consumer of it, but if you're asking me to explain how it works, that's not anything you're going to get out of Houston, that's for sure. But in Tennessee, you would, when you had a problem with financial aid and you were trying to rethink that, it was very common for presidents to call on other presidents to lend out their directors of financial aid to come in and take that particular operation apart and give some sense about what do we need to do first. Well, I thought that certainly some of the concerns that were being raised to me from an information technology standpoint, it just screamed for this opportunity to identify some people that, again, they were peers of our IT division that could come in and they could listen to your concerns and might help us to be able to talk about what must we do, what are some things we have to do as we look to the future. So some things that I will be making announcements about soon, and again, I'm not sharing anything with you that the ISD division didn't hear from me, and I'm not sharing anything with you that Faculty Senate didn't get in a little bit of pitch, is that we're going to be making pretty significant changes to leadership in that area. I plan to bring in an interim CIO that is someone that really has, because a lot of that is grounded in leadership and culture and change management, somebody that brings that to the table. Certainly as we look to the future, we'll be hiring, looking to advertise for a new CIO for the university, but quite frankly, we're not in position to hire that person right now. We need to get some things fixed and get things set up to really be able to think about the long term. And I know as someone who got to play an interim role and sort of Tom Courtway got to live that, sometimes you don't get to benefit from that. In your time, you hand that over to somebody. We're probably looking at a very similar sort of mode with interim CIO for some period of time. And Dr. Davis and I are talking about that and more to come. He's well aware of this as well. The existing team, excuse me, an observation, I know I've got about a minute and a half left, an observation was the existing team, it was a misalignment of resources. We had individuals that were in security space that probably we could be better served maybe with a hosted or a cloud-based solution and then rethinking how we were utilizing our existing FTE. We have to have the courage to shake all that up, put it all on the table, and really think about how are we utilizing our existing staff. That's going to be a pretty major change for everybody to have to, again, I need the ISD division to know that no job will not be impacted in some way because, again, we've got to think about how we're setting up for the future. Mentioning the hosted and the cloud solutions, there's a reason why the Georgia and the Oklahoma institutions, those are two of my former states as well, that have this in common. Most institutions don't have to worry about being high performing because that's taken off the table. There is a system level solution that's doing that for it. Now, I'm not going to tell you, the University of Arkansas system and the Arkansas State University system don't have good systems either. All right, nobody's beating down their doors to become a part of their hosted solutions. I'm talking about we've got to probably look outside. We may have to partner with other systems of higher education or with private providers, but there are a lot of things that we could have as cloud-based and hosted solutions that are in the IT space without having to have those experts on the ground here, and we can make better use of our folks. It's like last mile of a train track system or last mile of a broadband system.
Sorry, President. If there are no objections, I'll suspend the rules for 5 more minutes to allow him to finish presenting.
And then the last thing is, it's not just about new staff. I mean, we truly, have got to make certain that we are utilizing those existing dollars. I'm expecting that we're going to take the equivalent of, just like there's an energy savings firm out there that can take a look at what we're doing and they earn their fee based on finding savings inside of the systems of our buildings. There are some possibilities, groups like Gardner, they're referenced in the final draft of the report, that could do the same thing. And again, that does not cost us any money. They would earn their fees off of finding savings on the existing contracts that we have. So message of the board has been that we have really been disinvesting in this, that they need to know that there's probably an ouch money coming up. The message to our staff and our faculty has been that we have to insist upon different than the status quo. We need to shake things up and get a new way of thinking and positioning our people. And we've got to get out of this mindset of the university of just doing it on our own. We need to have the courage to partner with cloud and network solutions. Part of our problem is we've been buying everything at 10,000 FTE. We need to be in consortia where we're buying at 1 million FTE. We used to always joke in Georgia, there were 318,000 FTE in that system, but rarely did we buy anything on our own. We usually partner with New York or Texas-based system to get our FTE up to 1 million, because then you're really bargaining at a better point. We need to think about how we can apply that here at UCA too, okay? That's it.
Any questions? Yes, that's it.
And you mentioned that we are at a 1.1%.
Yes,
You
1.3.
said 1.3, and we want to get up to a 3.
3.1 is the average
The
for our
average.
institution.
So will we see that reflected in the upcoming July 1 budget, or would that be further down the road too?
Well, let me go to the other figure that I like to use. I think it was 900, see if I can remember my notes, $995 an FTE as opposed to we're at 479. We're not going to go to $995 an FTE anytime soon. That would be, gosh, we presently spend about $4 million, just short of that, on our ISD overall budget. We're not going to go to $8 million effectively anytime soon. I don't think we have to get to that target of exactly the median, but we probably don't need to be at 479 either. If we were to think about maybe being at 550 an FTE, that probably would require an investment in the neighborhood of 750,000 or so. But that may get somewhat take care of the fact that we're looking at having to do a network upgrade because we're in the 7th year. This will give you some sense of the antiquated nature of things. We're in the 7th year of our network solution. We basically broke that up over 7 years worth of payment, a contract for 7 years. When we did that, we did not get best-in-class service and equipment. We got things that were 2nd generation. So you could say that we're in the 7th year with technology that might well be 11 or 12 years old. Does that make sense? So as we're looking to try to really utilize that network refresh money, and as we're doing things like the telephone system, and are looking to the staff and faculty that are here, we use a telephone system that's the same that Austin P used when I was there in 2001. It's changed a little since then. I mean, everybody uses voice over IP. I mean, I don't know of any school that's not utilizing a VoIP solution. When we do the network, we may well, that's probably $850,000, $900,000 we spend extra in that telephone system because it's old technology. We may realize some of that savings to then be able to put toward the network refresh. So I don't want everybody to think that it's just about money. I mean, we can use some of our money smarter, better, more efficiently, but I don't think that we need to kid ourselves that if we keep doing $479 an FTE, that puts us down in the bottom quartile, maybe even bottom 10% of our peer institutions, and that's a joke if we think that we're ever going to get where we need to be spending at that level. So, but I'm always aware of the fact that we cannot pass along big tuition increases. I mean, we just can't. I mean, I wouldn't worry about the situation that's in this room. I mean, maybe you guys are the outliers. A lot of our student body, they just don't have the extra money to put towards school. We can't just assume that we can, jack up tuition.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I will go into my report. So thank you to everyone that came to the open forum that we had with President Davis. So Senators Stott, Teeter, Vice President Riggins, Hawkins, Targa, Gilbreth, Morrison, Ramirez, Audras, Ettinger, Lucero, and DePersia. We had a good time. We got a really cute picture out of it. So thank you guys. We had some productive conversation. Thank you, President Davis, for being there and willing to stay a little bit over. Okay, up next. So I didn't know what to call this, so I just said Go Bears. And President Davis already kind of touched on it, but our sports are rocking it. Like, they're doing so good. All I'm seeing all over my timeline are just news stories after stories about how awesome UCA sports are doing and how we are now the University of Champions in Arkansas is what some people are saying. So just to kind of touch on it, our women's volleyball team won the Southland Conference. Our men's soccer team won the Missouri Valley Conference. And then our football team won the Southland Conference and are also undefeated. And so the next step for the football team is it's going to be December 2nd. That's when the game is. And it's at, from my research, it's at 3 p.m.
2 p.m.
2 p.m. That news article is wrong. Okay, 2 p.m. So put that in your calendars. We really want a lot of students to show up to that. It's going to be a good time. And so make sure that you guys are telling all your friends about it as well. And then the next thing I had was spring campus talks. And so I've mentioned them briefly throughout the semester, but the spring campus talks are going to be February 27th, and that one is going to be in Lewis Science Center, room 100, and April 3rd in College of Business, and they're both during X period. And so put those on your calendar and kind of make plans to attend if you can, just to stay up to date on what is going on with Staff Senate, University News, and Faculty Senate. And then SGA has a time slot at the beginning where I report what we've been up to. So make plans to attend, and I did not put this on here, but another date for you guys. February 1st, we will be having a student poverty simulation, and so I'm going to read to you what that is. The Arkansas Department of Higher Education Career Pathways Initiative poverty simulation is designed to help people better understand the realities of poverty. So participants include staff members of various human service agencies and local civic, community leaders, and students. And it helps people understand the complexities and frustrations of living in poverty day to day. Participants role play the lives of low-income families. They have the stressful task of providing basic necessities and shelter on a limited budget during the course of 4 15-minute weeks. And so there's a faculty and staff simulation that's going to be on December 5th, and then the students, we have our own one. And so if you guys could go ahead, I know it's a long ways out, but if you guys can go ahead and put that on there. They're kind of expecting a full Senate to attend, so if you can, please do, of course. Some of you may have class, but that is going to be 5:30 to 8:30. So I know it's a long chunk of time, but we got a couple of months. So make sure you guys have those dates, and that is all that I have. Any questions? Senator Gilbert.
Do you know what day of the week?
I believe it is a Wednesday, but I'm not sure. Any other questions? Okay, let's go to things.
The Student Life Committee met and we approved 5 new RSO constitutions. And this is what they are: Camp Warrior Ministries, Help Science Club, Print Club, Student Special Interest Group of the Arkansas Chapter of the American Physical Therapy Association, that's one group, and the Big Event. And as many of you know, the Big Event used to be kind of part of our little SGA umbrella, but they decided they were ready to spread their wings. So now they're going to be their own RSO. So this is the same Big Event. I want to make that clear. It's not like a different new thing. It's the same one, but they are now going to be their own RSO, and we're excited to watch them leave the nest. Sorry, that was weird. Okay, so demerits. We had kind of a big wave of them after surveys. So if you have a legitimate excuse for not turning your surveys in, I urge you to appeal them on WorkSafe. And the form is under Forms, and it says demerit appeal form. Should be pretty easy for you to find. But if at any point you cannot find any of the forms ever, for any kind of thing you need for Senate, please let one of us know and we will help direct you a little bit better. A new thing that we're going to try in the spring to help for transparency is posting the spreadsheet with all of your demerits and what the demerits are for on our WorkSync page, so that you will be able to look every week and see where you are and hold each other accountable. So if you get in there and notice that maybe Senator Burton has 6 demerits and you were like, hey, Senator Burton, I don't want you to leave Senate, you could text him and be just like a sweet senator and say, hey, you should go appeal some of that. Or what's the deal? Why are you not here? So that is a move we're going to make in the spring. We're not doing that now. So in the spring, everybody starts over at 0 again, and hopefully they will stay that way forever. Okay, that's all.
Okay, any questions? Okay, Vice President McAfee.
Okay, first up, our social media posts so the PR committee has worked hard to make a schedule of postings coming up for the next week and a half. Those will include mostly about the open positions on campus. So anytime that you see the SGA accounts posting on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, if you could just share those and just write your own little blurb about it, or just share it directly how it is on our pages, that would be really helpful to get the word out. You can also post these posts in your GroupMe's, other RSO Facebook pages, really anything just to get the word out and have as many applicants as possible for those open positions and for the office worker positions. Also, along with social media posts, there will be a online survey link sent out with the minutes. It's in regards to the bike share program, so if you could also post that link on all of your social media sites, as well in GroupMe's, Facebook pages, anything like that for other RSOs, that'd be super helpful to Senator Burton and that project that he's working on. So that'll be also attached with the minutes. Yeah, so next up, Senator Fun Fact. This person has lived in 3 different countries. Any guesses?
Senator Gilbert.
Trying to remember what their last name is.
Oh, Senator Audrey. Oh, Ollie. Sorry.
Senator Burton.
Senator Sierra.
Senator Burton. Oh, Senator Bali. Did you have a guess, or?
No, you say me and I say no.
This person has lived in 3 separate
Senator
countries.
Askew.
President Walu.
Ding, ding,
Dang
ding!
it! Was it you? You told him.
I said nothing.
Good job. So we know that President Walu is not a senator, so we said the person on SGA. Gotcha! Gotcha! You're welcome. Okay.
What's that? Central America, India, and then America. Panama. Yes, sorry.
I would
Yes.
Okay. We'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Senator at ease until Vice President McAfee comes back.
That was really quick.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, Senate back in session.
Okay, so Senator of the Week has been described as a senator that has not only given so much this year, but also in their past years on Senate. Their committee has worked to achieve goals that constantly go out, that are constantly being achieved, and then thinking of new goals on the fly, which is awesome. This senator and his passion for starting a new RSO on campus has flourished, and he's overqualified and deserving of this award. He contributes to the mission of SGA because he simply embodies the spirit of UCA by acting on behalf of all students for their best interests to ensure success, achievement, and well-being. Senator Askew. Very deserving. You all have Senator of the Week nomination forms in front of you, so I want to see a record number of Senator of the Week nominations, so that makes it super, super hard on PR committee. I'd love to see an hour-long PR committee meeting because we just can't decide. So please send in, or just fill them out, slip it in my box, and it's going to be a great time. Thank you.
I have a question about the survey. Is it on Google Forms?
Yes, the
Okay.
survey's on Google Forms, and it's only for students that have an email ending with cub.uca.edu. So make sure that when you're publicizing this survey out to all of your friends, remind them to log on with their UCA email. Does that cover it?
A lot of times with those surveys, if they say it doesn't work, it's because they're not logged in with their code account. So, okay. Any questions for Vice President McAfee? Okay. I'm going to be Vice President back. Okay. So his report is just more on the Jeffrey B event. So he has confirmed to date that the committee can call in and set more logistical details, and that date is the 30th of this month at 12 p.m. CST, working with different time zones here. And so as many of the ad hoc committee that can attend will be there, and they will be putting together a game plan based off of that information received from the call. A contract has been sent out, and they will be discussing the details of the contract in the call to ensure that both parties are on the same page. And as of now, this is a calendared event, so if you, as senators, want to begin grassroots discussions of the event with friends and peers and RSOs, then once we receive official marketing materials from Jeff, we can begin broadly publicizing with official ads. And so make sure that you guys are letting your RSOs and people in your classes know about this event. We really want a big turnout, and we're spending a lot of money to get him back here, and he's amazing. So I yield the rest of the report to Senator Barton.
Hello. So the reason that I'm speaking is because Vice President Pfaff and I have been working on the bike share program. Of course, we gave the presentation last meeting during Senate, and again, I wanted to reiterate that's a presentation. And so all of that information was a collection and a dissemination to you all about possibilities for the program. And Vice President Pfaff and I are currently still in talks with both Saxter and the university about logistical details, implementation, schedules, funding, all of the good minute details that you should be burdened with currently. But March 1 kind of expected deadline, expected implementation date has been moved just slightly back. We hope to get it implemented by the end of March, but we're in talks still. And no new business will come up this semester. We hope to have everything refined and nailed down by the 22nd, which is our first meeting, if I'm not mistaken, of January next spring. So.
I believe it's the 29th, because the 22nd is our spring banquet and the beer retreat. So the 29th will be our first.
So the 29th, yeah, the 29th. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Vice President Pfaff, and we'll get questions answered detailed in person. So we'll have big discussions here. So, for sure.
Any questions for Vice President Pfaff or Senator Barton? Okay. We will move into standing committee reports, academic affairs, Senator Lucero.
Okay, so I sound pretty terrible tonight, so I'm going to keep this very short. President Lalu and I met with Provost Hargis. Very good meeting. We are in talks to plan an open forum between the deans for the academic colleges next semester, just to kind of give students more of an open forum and more of an open dialogue and bridge that communication gap with the deans of each of the colleges. So we're still in talks and kind of planning that. So I'll keep everyone up to date on what we do moving forward with that. The only other thing I have is my committee will briefly meet after Senate tonight. It will not be a long meeting with this. I'll handle an hour-long meeting right now. So
I'm finished. Any questions for Senator Lucero? This is what happens when you hang around me too much. Sorry. Diversity Committee, Senator Bartley.
So, our candlelight vigil had been last Friday, and it was a success. So, thanks to everybody who came out. We had a good turnout. It was a nice little small, intimate setting where we got into a circle, we lit candles, we shared our experiences that we've all been through, this happening in the world. Talked about how we're getting through those, about how it affects people's families, and kind of what we expect to happen from here. And it was just really, really great to co-sponsor this event with the Office of International Engagement, and hopefully we can have it again next year. So it was really great. Okay, so with the Mosaic program, which the project that Senator Ramirez is working on, we lowered our student count from 75 to 50 to remain under $1,000 for our budget. His most recent meeting was with the Director of Admissions, Courtney Bryant, and we will both have a meeting with President Lalu sooner than later, hopefully next week. And then after that, everything gets to finance. We'll give a budget report in the Senate so that everybody knows what's going on with that. And then the RSO Mix and Mingle, it won't be in Ferris 210, it'll be in students in the room 212 because of accessibility and what else? And speaking spirituality is a thing that's going to happen again this year. It'll be on, we're looking at Tuesday, April the 10th from 6 to 8. We talked about like speakers that we would like to present like for the different religions and stuff. And then talked about like reaching out to the department chairs and stuff about extra credit for students, so our attendance would be great like it was last year. We have a good model to look after. So that's it for diversity. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Any questions for Senator Markley? Okay, SFAC, Senator Markley.
So SFAC had a very nice meeting with Vice President Ronnie Williams last week, where we discussed kind of how SFAC has been run in the past. He gave us a lot of good anecdotes on how student fees have actually been misused in the past by university officials, and the importance of the committee for reviewing and reporting to the students for openness and transparency's sake. He gave us good advice on what information to collect. We seem to be on track with what we need for our fee hearings, and hopefully implementing those next semester with the Big Five, the most expensive fees that you all pay here at UCA. There's also fees that were implemented for needs that are no longer necessary, that are growing piles of money that we can look at allocating to certain needs across campus once we do all the fee assessments and hearings. And of course, our body's sentiment is reflected through resolutions, and I expect SFAC over the next several semesters to begin the process of expressing student sentiment about fees through resolutions through our body. So that's really cool. We're all on track for our Thanksgiving break deadlines. So I'll send all of the memo and the timeline to Vice President Pfaff tomorrow for review by Diana Newton, the Vice President of Finance Administration. And yeah, we're doing well. So.
Any questions for Senator Berkeley? Okay, we'll go into goal committee reports, campus interaction, Senator Miller.
Hello. Okay, so since the Bears have been kicking it so great lately, we are working on resolutions, and we submitted one for the football team and for men's soccer to Student Life today. So they have to review that before it comes to Senate, so hopefully we all have some resolutions to check out. And then we're working on the one for volleyball, and then we'll get that to Student Life this week too. So that's super exciting. Go sports. Senator Willie has emailed all the SOS leadership and Brandon Price to set up meeting times with him this week, and she just hasn't heard back yet. So hopefully that'll get nailed down soon. Senator Dykes was able to contact Kiara Weiner, and she works with Social Justice League, about partnering with them for Exam Jam. And so they're approaching like their advisors to see like logistically how that would work. So we're just waiting for an update from them, but that's really exciting. Senator Mendez is working on getting a survey table set up in the Student Center so that we can get more information, just more participation in the Purple Caps and Gowns survey. But thank you guys all for doing it. I really appreciate it. We were able to get the results today, so we'll look at those at our next meeting. That's super exciting. So hopefully we'll just be able to reach a lot more people and kind of explain our vision, because surveys are really impersonal usually. So we hope to just, explain it a little bit better in person. And then I yield the rest of my report to Senator Martin.
Okay, so I met with Jamie Dallas. She's great, like really awesome. She's the director of the Child Studies Center that we have across from the Ferris building over there. And so basically, in a nutshell, we talked about like, what's the word I'm trying to say? I just lost it. Like child services, like daycare services, like child daycare services for students here on campus. I'm sorry. She gave me similar information that the Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Grove Scott, gave me, so that was kind of great that we had some of the same ideas. The high points of the meeting was that even though it's a lot of stuff to do to plan for this, she sent me all of like the state requirements for licensing and accreditation and all of that. So I'll give that. We'll talk about that in our committee meeting next week. And we just talked about what it would look like for the university, how we might want to reach their goal, or you know, like steps to take to get to our next spot. And she had a great idea about it might be more feasible for the university to expand on our current chancellor center instead of creating a whole new entity. It might be better and quicker and easier actually just to actually do that because they already have licenses, they're already accredited, all of that. So instead of just making a whole new something, just expand what we already have. So that's might be something that we can look into, but that's basically it.
Okay. Awesome. Any questions for Senator Miller or Markley? Okay. Senator McCarty.
So we met last Tuesday at 9 p.m. and right now we're just focusing on doing the food service survey research for Vice President Path, and we're tabling everything else until we finish that. We are not meeting this week on Tuesday, so instead, my committee, please come see me after the meeting. We'll have a quick 5-minute meeting.
Any questions for Senator McCarty? Okay. Internal affairs. Okay. Outreach, Senator Stock.
Okay, so our meeting last week, we had pizza, it was fun. So, we divvied up and made a template email that we're gonna send out to 9-year institution representatives. So that's gonna be like our big initiative to wrap up this semester, just to let them know that the event will be happening again because we would love to see them supporting us there at that. And then we also talked about what we're gonna do with this Coke money that we have. Our committee likes the idea of maybe using them for t-shirts again, but then use them for maybe David Capitalist, Shar, having their logo on it, and then maybe more people would be more incentivized to come if they didn't have to wear business casual, so we could all look uniform in the same shirt altogether, possibly. I don't know, we're gonna talk about it. And so that, and then Senator Redding has completed our bike-friendly university resolution. So I sent that to Meg, and so I asked her if she would include it with the minutes. So if you all could take a look at that, if you have anything grammar-wise or like small changes that you just want to shoot my way before we look at it again next week, please do that so that we're not all looking at my resolution and Maggie's resolutions trying to debate over grammatical errors, because that's something that we could easily fix through email. So if y'all would be willing to do that, that'd be great. That is all I have.
Any questions for Senator Stalk? Okay, safety and capacity.
Okay, so we basically just have a lot of things coming up next week. So I've tasked the whole committee with, reviewing their own parts of the campus climate survey. They each got their own document out of that. And this coming week in our meeting, we'll be discussing basically the findings from each of the documents from that survey. Also coming up, we'll be looking more in depth at ADA standards for our buildings, and it's recently been tasked to us to look into the It's On Us campaign. So that's kind of what we're doing.
And with Senator Stalk, or that too. Yeah. Okay. Student resources, Senator Rodriguez.
So, good afternoon, everybody. So, Senator Hawkins has a meeting with Dr. Seeger on November 27th. We'll be partnering up with Senator McGarity and Housing and Food for possibly having printing in all the dorms. With Senator Abbott, the closet will be tabled at the moment because the UCA Food Pantry did not want to pick it up, so we'll try again next semester for the demand for it. And then with Senator Ramirez, I will still be continuing on the president having the food box and the stations on UCA, and then I will leave the rest of my time to Senator Burton for this discussion for his program.
I presented what I had for the bike share earlier, but I appreciate you. I'm also probably starting next semester, I'm going to get with IT pretty hardcore about the computer background screen changes, because if you didn't see that it's possible, they put a background explaining the new password changes there. So no one can tell me that they can't do it. It's a matter of creating a program and making sure that the IT department is implementing it like students see fit. We can survey if we'd like to, but no one can tell me they can't do it.
Thank you. Any questions for Senator Ramirez? One part. Okay, we will go into university committee reports. Are there any university committee reports? Senator Robinson.
Hi, I went to Grad Council this past week, and it was a fun meeting. We approved 2 new graduate courses, cancer biology and advanced stats and R. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. We also approved additional course electives for the Master of Accountancy degree, including investments, finance, some more finance stuff, and quantitative analytical methods. Sounds fun. The MBA and Master of Accountancy programs had a little changing to their admission standards. Really, a lot of the programs are starting to ease up the GRE requirements, so they're added a few stipulations to that. And we also went over the grad faculty appointments, which for like 3-year terms, something like that.
Thank you. Senator Miller.
Okay, Megan. I went to the University Calendar Committee this week, and they approved the 2019-2020 calendar in October. That was a lot of 20s. In October, so that one's good to go. And so, kind of the goal of this committee is to get the calendar going for 2021, 21-22, 2023. So, kind of setting like a new standard, like what those look like. They kind of take it on like 3 years at a time. So that's really exciting. And then I just wanted to share with y'all the goals of the committee. Interim Provost Marcus came to our meeting and kind of shared a little bit about like what he was hoping. So this is what he said. The goals are that any adjustments made will create a positive impact for student learning. So that's cool. And then what can we do to expand our Welcome Week activities in order to integrate students into our campus? So those were like the goals of the committee, and I really appreciate that he like came to us and shared that, because it kind of gave us a more clear vision for, you know, if changes are to be made, why we would be thinking that way. So just wanted y'all to know about that, and any updates to come, I will share. Okay,
thank you. Senator Eddie for Lucero.
So, after our meeting with Interim Provost Hargis, I also got to attend a student evaluation of teachers committee meeting. So, all of you should have gotten an email today to start course evaluations. We are no longer using the Smart Eval system. We are using something called Explorance. It is a new student evaluation system that's supposed to be more cost efficient. It has a data sync tool with live connections to Banner. The faculty should be able to track their responses in real time now. It's got several components related to Google Analytics, so we will be able to see how students are accessing the eval tools, if they're doing it on a mobile device, a hardline computer on campus, a laptop, the time of day that they're accessing those evaluations, and then the day of the week that they're also accessing them. So it's providing more analytical data for the university to use. They are working on adding a block into Blackboard that will actually have an evaluation tab that you'll be able to click on. I believe the goal of that is to happen next fall. The committee is discussing changing its committee charge. So right now, the Student Evaluation and Teachers Committee typically just reviews questions, and most of the time, if you fill out evaluations and you know the questions don't really change, they're pretty much the same semester to semester. So they're interested in changing the charge of this committee to be more analytical, so to evaluate the data that comes in from the evaluation and then propose recommendations to the university on how we could tackle some of the trends that we see in the data. They want to identify trends, offer informed recommendations. There has been an issue. They were afraid that they weren't going to be able to use the new eval system this semester because there has been low response time from the IT department. I guess they were able to resolve those issues since they went out live today, so that's great. And then just kind of the statistic, they shared 67% of our students. That's the current student eval response rate, so keep up the good work. Kind of a note on that. Even though 67% is a very high number for student eval response rates, most of our peer institutions sit at about 74%. So 7% difference is not bad, but we definitely have some room for improvement.
So do your evals, everyone. Tell all your friends to do them. Vice President Riggins.
Okay, so I attended the Service Learning Advisory Committee for Senator Sebastian last Tuesday, and it was really fun. I love going to university committees, so just like a side, I loved it. We talked about the Speed Date Lunch and Learn that they did on October 17th, and it was really successful, and it was an event for like community partners and university faculty to kind of get together and talk about what service learning opportunities they could do. They said it provided a lot of really great context in our like science programs. So if you are a major in the sciences, you could potentially have a service learning class, and that's super fun. We also approved a full amount in funding for a service learning class. And we started talking about the service learning program mission. So the current draft says the service learning program connects campus to community by supporting and maintaining mutually beneficial partnerships and faculty development and community engaged pedagogy for the academic and civic development of students. Awesome. But they're still working on it. I took a lot of notes. And they also talked about the Newman Civic Fellows application process. So this is an award for students, and I think you need to at least be on campus for another year afterwards. So if you're a graduating senior, you can't be nominated for it. But they're going to review the applications at their next meeting in January. So it's very exciting. And I'll give you
Any other university community? Do you have a question?
Yeah. Are those Newman Civic applications closed?
I think so. I think that they're still open because they were trying to get more applicants. But I think it takes on work soon too. It's probably closing soon.
And if you guys know of someone that should be nominated, or if you want to be nominated, just let me know and we can work something out. Okay, Senator Whitby.
So last Thursday, the Housing Extension Committee meeting, we had a meeting last Thursday on Xperia, and so we had total like 16 different students that requested to be exempt from housing, and out of the 16, 10 we approved, and then 3 students who voted against, and there were 3 more students that we requested more.
Awesome. Senator Scott.
The Student Center Board University Committee meeting met last week, and Pops gave us some sweet information about the new carpeting that we've got, some new lighting projects, gave a very awesome report. It was brief, but it was great. I appreciate it.
Any other university committee reports? Senator Smith.
I went to the Traffic and Parking Committee. Thank you, John, for letting me go to that. My report's not as exciting as it sounds. We denied everything, but don't let that keep you from appealing them, because yes, occasionally they do appeal. So, yeah, that's all for my report.
Any other university committee reports? Nope. Okay, we will move into unfinished business. There is none. New business. Is there any new business? Senator Eddinger Lucero.
In accordance with the SGA Constitution and SGA Special Rules of Order, notice is hereby given the following Constitution bylaw amendment will be considered at the next regular scheduled meeting on November 27, 2017. The proposed amendment to the Constitution or bylaws is to amend bylaw 10, or I'm sorry, It is a bylaw amendment for bylaw C, Article 1, Sections 1 through 5. It is 7 pages and is included in the minutes.
So you don't have a physical copy because we don't want to kill that many trees. Senator Ettinger Lucero.
In accordance with the SGA Constitution and SGA Special Rules of Order, notice is hereby given that the following Constitution bylaw amendment will be considered at the next regular scheduled meeting on November 27, 2017. The proposed amendment to the Constitution is Special Rule 10 to restructure the bylaw and clarify the demerit process.
Thank you. Any other? Senator Ettinger Lucero.
This is the last one, I promise. In accordance with the SGA Constitution and SGA Special Rules of Order, notice is hereby given that the following Constitution bylaw amendment will be considered at the next regular scheduled SGA meeting on November 27, 2017. The proposed amendment to the constitutional bylaws is Constitution change to Article 2, Section 1 to restructure the bylaw and clarify the demerit process.
Okay, that's a lot. And the Internal Affairs Committee worked very hard on this, so please make sure that you're looking through that and sending any suggestions, big or small, to the committee beforehand, so before next Senate meeting. And then the 7-page one will be in the minutes. Any other new business? No? Okay, we will move into announcements. I have a quick announcement. So, of course, it's Thanksgiving break this week. So if any of you are not going home or just need a place to go, I live about 30 minutes away from here. My parents are fun. And so if you want to come hang out with me and my parents, just let me know. They were Rebecca, so they got really excited. Any other announcements? No? Senator Gilbert.
Yesterday was one of our senators, Miss Maggie Miller's birthday.
Happy late birthday. Thanks. Senator Sierra.
I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who attended any event last week, National Education Week. You were very successful. Thank you, Jerome, for the video, and everybody for the fit. That's it.
Senator Barnes.
I already told them individually, and probably a million other people did too, but congrats to Vice President McAfee and Senator Miller for getting team leader on student orientation staff.
Any other announcements? No? Okay. Meeting adjourned.